Hello guys, welcome to the third and final part of this tutorial series. If you watch part 1 and part 2, we're creating, of course, this beautiful smiley cartoon face. We're starting from scratch, creating all the effects, and now finally in part 3, we're gonna animate it using Adobe Flash, which is what we use to create this in the first place. So I just want to say before we start, if you watch part 1 and part 2, we're friends now. It was a long journey and I had fun. So I hope you too and learn something on the way, but now it's time to finish this and I'm gonna start rambling and get to the tutorial. So what we're gonna do now is just select basically all we have here. By the way, everything is gonna be in the description. If you wanna download this thing, go ahead. We're gonna convert that to a symbol, basically selecting every symbol and converting it to a symbol. And we're gonna select, we're gonna call it Emoticon, which is the word in Spanish, and I think English as well. And just delete, those layers that are left, because it's all inside the new symbol now. So we double click on the new symbol, we have all the symbols in one layer because it's a new symbol. So we're just gonna right click and click distribute to layers. And what that's gonna do is just distribute each symbol on its own individual layer, and Flash is even nice enough to name each layer after the symbol name. So we have two layers that says ojos because that's one for each eye, which is a symbol. Okay, so pretty good so far. Very simple stuff. So we can select every symbol and move it a bit to up with the directional arrows if we want. We're gonna create a new layer, drag it to the bottom, and that's in English. That's a drop shadow. I don't have to translate that. So to create a drop shadow, we're gonna create a circle and then select, is it gonna be a black? Let me drink some water. Yeah, it's gonna be a black circle. Good, that's pretty simple. I like it, simple stuff. So let's select the circle and go to modify convert to symbol, and let's name that sombra proyectada, which means projected shadow, I think. Let's learn some Spanish. So let's go to our properties and click alpha and then drop shadow. That's basically a combo if you're creating a shadow, just the transparency and the blur of the thing. And okay, I think that looks pretty nice. I might bring the alpha down a little bit. See, I knew it. As you know, these are recorded for in Spanish, but I knew that I was gonna change that. Okay. So what we're gonna do here is go double click, and I went inside of the mouse symbol, which again, you can look there. We're inside the emoticon, inside the mouth, and inside the teeth. So that's 3 symbol sections. And we're gonna click and drag and insert frames. Now, keep in mind, we're animating inside, we're adding frames first, not animating, but adding frames inside the teeth symbol. So we're really inception inside the symbols. And really what we're gonna do here is a combination of a lot of animations, some animations happening at the same time, and that's kind of what makes it a neat effect. So right now, just inside the teeth symbol, and we added those frames, about 60 frames right now. So we're starting with, I think, the most complicated. I just want to say complicated. I'm doing that thing with my fingers, which means it's not that complicated, but we're making basically a shine, like ding, of the teeth. That's the best way I can explain it. So just changing layer names, but it's in Spanish, so it doesn't matter. Okay. So this is what we're gonna do here. On the dientes, which is teeth layer, we're creating a keyframe there, and then another keyframe there. If you've never inserted a keyframe, this is not the best way to start, but it just means that it's a frame for change, okay? Change is gonna happen. So what's the change? We're moving the points there. Oh, that's interesting. I'm being surprised as well. Moving the points of the original teeth shape that we're creating slightly, okay? This is quite interesting. So we're moving them slightly, okay, the corners, and then we're gonna select in between those three frames, three keyframes we have, which is the start frame and the other two we created, and then click create shape tween, and that's gonna, look at that. Okay, that's nice. That creates a slight, organic movement for the teeth, even though it's not, that realistic. Well, it is. Yeah, the top teeth. Yeah, it is realistic. I'm defending myself, but you see, it's a small change, and that's kind of what I meant before. That we're gonna create a lot of small changes and details, and that's gonna make the final product look really polished. So that's the intent. You don't have to create. Well, obviously you can create a really sophisticated animation, but you can cheat some stuff as well. And I'm just selecting by the way, the tween there of the shape, and I just clicked on easing, which means I added some acceleration. Just to make the long story short, it makes it look more organic. And I just mentioned shading in Flash, and I have to give a shout out to Chris Georgine, which is a guy I learned a lot from. He has a book called How to Cheat in Adobe Flash, like every Flash, Adobe Flash CS6, CS5, probably CS7 too when it comes out, if it does. But anyway, great guy, great books, check them out. This is a paid spot. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not. I shouldn't be joking with that. It's not a paid sponsorship. I just like the book. So we're gonna add a new layer above the teeth layer. We're gonna call it brillo, which is a shine, and that's what I was talking about before. We're gonna make a shine, get a teeth go like ding, like that, and so yeah, that's basically what we're gonna do. And you're probably imagining what we're gonna do. Just on this rectangle that I just created on a new layer, I'm making that same effect that I did with the bottom lip on the second part. Remember, where we make the middle part of the color be a color, okay, a solid color, and the edges of the radial gradient or the linear gradient are gonna be transparent. So as you can see there, since it's on a gray background or a light background, you kind of can't even tell that there's a thing there. You kind of see just a white kind of thing with the edges blurred out, and that's the effect you get with with doing that with the colors. So we're gonna create that symbol, rotate it, and we're gonna animate it from left to right. So that's pretty simple. And again, as you can probably imagine too, or if you don't, we're gonna create in a second a new mask that's gonna say that the shine thing animation is just gonna be viewable on the teeth area, okay? Because it wouldn't make sense to have it go outside of the screen. So right now, just create a new keyframe, right click, and select classic tween after you move it, of course, on the new keyframe. Okay, that makes sense. And I'm gonna drink some more water. Okay, that makes sense. And I'm gonna click on the ease and add 100 as well. And we have that animation. And like I said, the only thing we're missing is the mask, because we don't want that shine of the teeth to be on top of the eyes, of the shape of the head, and even on the white part of the background. That just doesn't make sense. So let's see here. Okay, let's click Control Enter, and now, okay, that's pretty interesting. It's now inside of the mask, because as you can see, we already have a mask that we created in the second part, and we just kind of have to drag that layer to that mask to make it a mask. It's pretty simple stuff, because we already had the mask on the second part of the tutorial. So I'm just looking there at the animation and kind of looking to see if I like it, and I think it was too fast to my liking. Even if we're at 24 frames per second, I kind of want that shine to be cartoony and be like cling, and to see it, to really see it. So I think that looks good. And we're now, again, if you're any time lost, you can check the part that's on the left part that you can see where it says scene, emoticon, boca, and you can kind of tell inside what symbol we are. So now we're inside the boca symbol, and we're gonna add a new layer inside the boca symbol. And that's, by the way, just you don't get confused. We were inside the teeth symbol where we created that animation, and now we're just inside the boca symbol. And we create start, selecting the polygon tool, going to properties, option, selecting start. Let's click 5 or 4, yeah, 4 sides. Start point size 0.30, sounds good. And let's change the color to white. We have a star. That's pretty simple. Let's convert it to a symbol. Call it animación de estrella, which is star animation. And we're gonna double click, and we're inside the symbol that says animación de estrella, and then we're just gonna create the symbol that says estrella. Basically make it a symbol there because we're gonna motion tween it, make some simple animation, and it has to be a symbol. Okay, that's sometimes a bit confusing. We created 2 symbols. One is just to go inside it and make that animation there, and the other is just because the thing we're actually animating has to be a symbol to motion tween it. Okay, it makes sense. You can, hear that part twice. It took me like 50 hearings to understand that. I'm not, being patronizing is the word. Yeah, I'm not being that. I'm just saying it takes some time if you're starting out. So yeah, we're gonna start that with a free transform tool, moving it down. And on frame 10, I want to say, we're gonna insert a keyframe, again a frame of movement. And let's see, on frame 15, we're gonna insert another keyframe, and with the free transform tool, make it a bit bigger. And then on frame 25, make it smaller and add another keyframe. And of course, bring the alpha down and make it disappear. Let's select in between and select classic tween, and what that does is, of course, create the in-betweens for that animation. So we just created the key poses and Flash in between that, or motion tween that, I should say, for us. Okay, so we're gonna select that, and look at this. This is pretty interesting. Just to create a really simple, start rotating animation. I'm gonna rotate, auto, and then CW, which is the network channel. No, I'm just kidding. It's clockwise. So you're rotating the. Oh God, I'm terrible at jokes. You're rotating the star. So that times 1. Yeah, I think. Since it's really small, the star, if you put it like rotating 5 times, it's just gonna look crazy rotating. So I think 1 looks good. So let's go double click and go outside of the symbol, and let's test the movie out. See how it's looking. I think we're gonna test it, I hope. Let's see. Oh, okay. On the properties here, you can change the size of the document. That's interesting. So, okay. So I'm making it a little bit bigger and selecting everything and moving it because it didn't fit. Okay. A bit bigger. Okay. Now, what we're gonna do is, okay, so we're now at another stage inside the emoticon symbol, which is kind of like the big symbol, and I'm just selecting every layer and creating F6 to create a keyframe on frame 15 and another keyframe on frame 30. And check this out. We're selecting every symbol on frame 15. We're gonna make that like first, what's the word? I'm just pushing it together. And the great thing about having everything separated in symbol is that first check this out. This is kind of like one of the main points I want to make. First, you select every symbol, okay? And it's separated on its own layer, but you select everything and then you move it. But after you do that, you start doing what I'm doing now, which is moving each symbol individually. So I move the mouth, I stretch the mouth a little bit more, and then when I create the motion tween, you can see that when it moves, it looks more cartoony, you see? Right? It doesn't look like it's just kind of stretching. It looks like it has more movement because I moved first everything together, but then I move each part separately. So that makes it a bit more dynamic. And of course, you know, it's really rough right now. But if you spend more time in it, doing a lot of more tricks, for example, let's move the shadow a bit up and mouth more like that, because if it's moving, kind of giving the effect that the mouth is moving, the head, I'm sorry, is moving kind of up, you know, moving the eyes up, making them more stretchy. You know, there's a lot of stuff that you can play around with, definitely, to make this look a lot better. But that's the main idea that I wanted to give you guys on this. So I double click on the base symbol, and this is very interesting too. We're gonna create another animation inside this symbol. Check this out. On the middle, which is frame 15, keyframe 15, I'm moving the shape, just kind of dragging the shape I have there. And if you are moving shapes, you're working with shape tweens instead of motion tweens. Okay, so I'm gonna move the circle. This is another reason why we have the stroke separated as in different layers, because we can do this kind of stuff, you know. So we create the shape tween, and you can see the difference. Okay, I love this effect. This is actually something that I learned too from Chris Georgian's. Well, some of his effects applied to something I did here, but he calls it 2.5D animation. So when you have it all combined, all the elements, it looks pretty good, right? Right? Just kidding. But yeah, looks pretty good. It gives it more depth because now it looks like it's moving. You know, it looks good. Looks good. Could work, use more polishing, but again, I'll leave that to you guys. Thank you so much for watching this almost hour-long tutorial. I'm losing my voice, and please don't forget to like this video, and I hate begging for likes. I love it. I'm just kidding. Like this video if you found it useful, share it with your friends. Here I'm just messing around with the colors. That looks pretty good, actually. A bit contrasty, but looks pretty good. It's a filter called Adjust Color. So just changing the properties there. Like it and share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. And be sure to leave me a comment with what you want to see next. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time, if you're not bored with my voice. Thank you.